Hi everyone, I'm Lottie.
And I'm Sam.
And we're Shop Blast Media. And this week we're going to be chatting about our favourite actors. Oh, Sam, there's so many good actors out there. I mean, where do you start with this?
Yeah, I'm kind of spoilt for choice, to be honest. There's a lot of really good actresses and there's a lot of really good actors. Yeah, there's too much choice. I think I know what I'm going to go for, but it's been quite hard to decide.
So what do you think makes a good actor then?
Someone who kind of like just blows you off your feet when you're watching, someone who kind of commits to it and you can tell they're committing and you can also tell they're enjoying themselves and enjoying the craft and all that. And you can tell that with films, I think it's really possible. And the examples I'm going to give now, I think, are really good instances of them. But what about you?
I guess it's charisma and charm, isn't it? It's some of it is the actor themselves and then the character that they're portraying. So it's sometimes you almost connect with the character, I think, and then the actor is sort of a part of that. But then the flip side of that is an actor really makes you think about a character in a different way that you hadn't before, and it's because it's their perception of how the character should be played. So
well, that's actually quite a nice segue into my favourite actor, which is Joaquin Phoenix.
ooh,
Obviously,
good choice.
yeah. Well, he's you were saying it depends. It's all dependent on how someone portrays that character because they can do it in different ways. And recently, he played the Joker, and he was always my pick for the Joker. And when he got announced, I was over the moon. And he did such a good job, and he was very different to all the other Jokers that have been out there. But I first watched him in Her, and I thought he was absolutely amazing in that. And it was a really heartfelt movie, and you just kind of watch what he does now, and he really attaches himself. You can tell if he's going to be in it, that script's going to be good because I don't think he's very stubborn, and he only picks the best scripts and the best directors and stuff, and he really gives it his all. Like with Joker, he lost so much weight, and then would put it back on for his next movie he's shooting. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a really good method actor, isn't he? Really, really gets into the character. And I think as well for him, the Joker, he almost, because of everything, obviously with Heath Ledger, there'd be so many comparisons. I think he almost had to go quite far the other way, in a sense, to really make it his own. And not taking anything away from Heath Ledger as well, because he did an absolutely amazing job in The Dark Knight. But they're two very different Joker characters, and I guess they're two very different films as well, which sort of stands them apart.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every Joker, every actor who's played him has brought something new to the table, And this Joker, you had a lot more sympathy for him, and he's the villain. And I think you could only really get that. Well, I think you're definitely going to get that with Joaquin Phoenix because he can make you just, switch like that. And he was fantastic. Everything he's been in. I haven't seen him do a bad film, or he hasn't played a bad performance.
So what do you think about him, I guess, in the sort of in the public eye then? Because he's obviously, with all the Oscars and the Academy Awards, he's been quite outspoken. He's come across, he's said a few things recently that I guess could be seen as quite controversial. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of subjects that are like that, and he is. Some things he says are a bit like over the top, like his Oscar winning speech recently. I was like, okay, just take your award and go away, as Ricky Gervais was saying. I was like, okay, you hammer on a bit too much. I guess they've got the platform, and they can say these things. But I mean, the good thing about it is I don't think it takes away from him as an actor at all. They're very separate things. So I like that. He might be a bit, over the top in a lot of his stuff he says, but he's still an amazing actor, and you can't take that away from him at all.
Well, I think it's good when actors are outspoken. I guess one of my favorite actors is Leonardo DiCaprio, and obviously he's is a huge environmentalist. He talks a lot, passionately about the environment and energy and all of those things. As you say, they use that, don't they, a lot as a platform, their celebrity status, to be able to pitch their point across or get across something that they want to talk about. But yeah, I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, I think he's come a long way, hasn't he, from the likes of, I think it was This Boy's Life was the first film that he was in the early 90s, and then obviously his role as Jack in Titanic, which put him on the map was one of the biggest films. But I mean, if you think about stuff that he's produced more recently, like The Departed, Django, Inception, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Revenant, I mean, Wolf on Wall Street, there's been so many really good, big films. And I think as an actor, he's very versatile. He can cover all sorts of different genres. And, certainly in the Revenant, I thought was, I guess, similarly to your choice in that sense with Joaquin Phoenix, that film was pretty much him the whole time, more or less. I mean, obviously it had supporting actors in there, but all the main dialogue and the story really was centered around his character. And to be able to grip people and hold people for 2 hours and command that attention on screen, I think it takes someone quite special to be able to do that.
Interestingly, just while we're kind of talking about Joaquin as well, Leo was actually considered to play Joker before Joaquin, which is interesting. Because at the same time, I can't see the face.
No.
Because Joaquin looks like the Joker. He looks like the comic book Joker. And then look at Leo, and I'm like, nah, he's too much for a pretty boy.
Pretty, yeah, he's too pretty looking, isn't he?
I reckon he would have been really good at the same time, like acting wise. I reckon he would have killed it. He's a brilliant actor. If you look at him in Django, I think he's kind of most jokery in that.
Yeah.
But I think I think his role in Django is my favorite role of his. He's absolutely fantastic. And to be honest, I think his platform about about the environment and all that, I've always been someone who's said practice what you preach, and he definitely does. He's one of those rare people who generally will say what they say and they'll mean it and they'll act upon it. So props to him.
Yeah, he does, and I think you don't see a lot of him really in the public eye as much in that sense. I think he obviously uses his celebrity status as a platform to promote those themes, but generally you don't see him get caught up, I don't think, in too much sort of celebrity life, do you?
He's quite like Daniel Day-Lewis. They're very similar actors because they only really pick roles like every 1 or 2, 3 years. They're not just in like a film every year. And I think it's because he does all that work on the side.
Well, that's it. I mean, they're both massive actors, and I guess they've got to that point in their careers as well where they can, they can pick and choose films, and be in all sorts. But I mean, he's done so many things. I mean, like Catch Me If You Can as well. That was
I watched that only recently, like last week or something. I thought it was brilliant.
Did you like it? I
really liked it. Yeah. I thought him and Tom Hanks were good at playing off each other. They were brilliant.
It's good, and it's that sort of cheeky kind of comedy angle that he plays, which again, I guess you see a little bit more of that in the Wolf of Wall Street. Very versatile actor. Yeah, I'd be interested to see. Obviously, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was his latest one for last year, so it'd be interesting to see. I don't know what he's got coming up this year. I mean, obviously things are on hold a little bit at the moment. Do you know if he's got anything in the pipeline?
Yeah, Martin Scorsese's doing a film with him and Robert De Niro. Like Martin Scorsese always puts Leo and Robert in like most of his films, but they've never actually been together, I don't think. So
all right.
It'll be quite a nice little crossover. I think it's like a Western gangster film.
So I think they're both two great choices, two great actors. I mean, the thing is, the list is endless, isn't it? Is there anyone else that stands out for you?
As a male actor, I'm going to go Christian Bale. I mean, I've always kind of liked him since I was a kid, watching the Dark Knight movies and such, because he's a brilliant Bruce Wayne. And no, I don't know about Batman, but he's good at playing the character. He's good. Not so much about the voice, but I think the film that stands out for me is American Psycho. It's a really grisly yet quite funny movie about this guy on Wall Street who's just, I mean, it says the clues in the title, but his role is just amazing in that. He plays Patrick Bateman to a T. And it's kind of weird because I've read the book as well. And reading the book, I'm always going to see Christian Bale as the character, even in the bits that aren't in the film that was scripted in the book. He's just like the business card scene, the bit where he's got the axe and Jared Leto's in the room. It's incredible like how much he puts into the roles. And then you look at him doing all these crazy body transformations for The Machinist, and when he played Dick Cheney, and it's like,
The
How was that?
Machinist as well. I mean, God, he was skinny for that, really skinny. He just looked so unwell for that film,
Mm,
which obviously was what was required. And again, I think it takes a lot of effort, doesn't it, to be able to put your body through that, for a
mm.
role.
And then he put loads of weight on to play Dick Cheney a couple of years ago, and he looked just totally different.
Yeah.
And then recently he was in Ford versus Ferrari, and he played a really good character as well. Like, I don't know, he's because he's quite a controversial figure as well, because he's had a lot of outbursts on set and stuff. But
Yeah, I hear he's not the nicest of actors, I guess, to work with, and I guess that's the only thing. From I think he's a brilliant actor in terms of on screen. I guess, I mean, I don't know him, so it's very hard to talk about would you potentially like someone or not. But you're right. I think he doesn't necessarily come across as the warmest, likable of characters off screen.
yeah, it certainly seems that way. I think he's got a lot better recently in all his speeches and when he does interviews. He seems really like chirpy, and he doesn't seem down. And maybe he just had a rough couple of years. I don't know, but he's-
He is very good, and American Psycho I only watched about a year ago, and it is sort of like a cult classic film, isn't it? I'd always sort of wanted to see it, and I kind of got around to it. It was just one of those films that is there, and I ended up watching it, and enjoyed it. And they're quite, I guess his characters are quite, some of them are quite mental, aren't they? They really push the boundaries quite a lot, which must be quite fun as an actor to play someone like that.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, he's very versatile. Like I said, Dick Cheney, Batman, Patrick Bateman, American Psycho. I don't think there's anything he can't do. He's just, if you give him a role, he'll probably say, "Yeah, I can probably do that" in his own way. Are there any male actors that float your boat?
Well, I'm thinking going a bit more old school, so Jack Nicholson. So it ties in with the Joker, because obviously he played the original Joker. Obviously, very different to how the other two actors portrayed it. But yeah, I think he's a fantastic actor. Jack Nicholson, is one of the oldies and the besties. What super well known for his role in The Shining, obviously, which is one of our favorite films. So you've got to love him too, I guess, Sam.
Oh, that's my favorite movie. I think that's where Jack's up there for me. I think he's in my top five of old school actors. He's the best because I loved him as the Joker as well. But as Jack Torrance, he's just something else. Like his facial movements, I think he's one of the best animated actors because his body language is incredible.
Yeah, he acts so much with his face, doesn't he? And as you say, there's the kind of eyebrow raise and those little micro expressions he can do with his mouth. I mean, he's done again so many different sorts of films, from the likes of The Shining, from a sort of a thriller horror through to anger management, which is a comedy, and then you've got As Good as It Gets and Something's Got to Give. I love both of those films, sort of drama comedy rom-com style film. So yeah, it's again very versatile, and he's just, I don't know, I think you would have a really good chat with him if you could get a coffee or have a beer with him. I bet you'd have a real laugh. He sort of seems like one of those actors that you could just be friends with.
He was in he co-starred with Leo in The Departed as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Mm.
Trying to think what else he was in. There's obviously One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, so he kind of plays a crazy, but not too crazy, but a crazy, I guess, in that sense. I've not seen that film for a long time.
No, same here. I think that was like where the whole crazy thing came from, and I think that's what made Stanley Kubrick cast him in The Shining. But he kind of plays two different versions of crazy. Cuckoo's Nest, he's not really crazy. He kind of is. It's like it's interesting.
Yeah, because that was 5 years before in
Yeah.
75, and The Shining was 1980. So yeah, it's interesting.
Mm. He won the Oscar for Cuckoo's Nest as well, I think.
3-time Academy Award winner and 12-time nominee. He
I think,
received an Oscar nomination in every decade from the 60s through to the early 2000s. That's pretty good.
yeah, well, that shows a lot about him, doesn't it?
In good films and good roles as well, obviously helps. But yeah, I think he rolls with it, doesn't he? Really makes any kind of role his own. And, he always creates an interesting character that you want to get to know more about. So we move on then. So actresses then. There's tons and tons of actresses as well. So take your pick.
I'm gonna start with Jodie Comer,
Yeah.
who is relatively quite a new popular actress. I didn't really know much about her until I watched Killing Eve, which is on at the moment, a BBC show in its third season. And she plays this Russian assassin who's the villain of the show. And I mean, she blew me away. Like in the first season, she just commands the screen. Like the show's called Killing Eve, but really for me, it's about Villanelle. The villain, she's just amazing. She can do any accent, and the way she comes across in like person as well. Interview, she's lovely. She's from Liverpool. Like she just seems really sound, and she's won a few BAFTAs now because of her role in that. And she's getting, people are asking her to be in films and stuff. Like she's really blown up, and she just seems like such a lovely person. And when she's on screen, she just chews up the scenery. There's no one who could do it like her. I'm glad they picked her. She's brilliant.
Yeah, and it is amazing. I think I watched her on I think it was the Graham Norton show, and it was just the fact that she had a really quite a heavy Liverpudlian Scouse accent. And you're right, she can pull out any accent out of the bag, can't she? Sort of posh British, Russian. She does loads of different accents when she's portraying different characters as part of Killing Eve. So yeah, I think as a newcomer, I think she's really exciting to watch, and it'll be interesting to see what she does next.
She's really young as well. Like she's about 25, 26. She's got a pretty full and strong career ahead of her. So good on her.
Do you think, though, I mean, interestingly, I guess this is the big question is, I mean, Villanelle is just such an amazing character, complicated character, a gift of a character, really, to play. So do you think she could go from that into something like a blockbuster film and still have that same level of appeal?
Yeah, if not more, I think. Like this new Ryan Reynolds film that's coming out, it's got loads of big stars in it that I actually like Taika Waititi, but she's like appealed to me because I'm like, oh, this is like her first big blockbuster role. And in the trailers, I'm more appealed to Jodie Comer because like than Ryan Reynolds and stuff, because I don't know, I see a lot of potential in her. I think she's going to really relish it, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's in so much more in the coming years. I think she'll keep that popularity. I'd like to see her in a Tarantino movie as like I can imagine her as the bride, the bride in Kill Bill. That type of female protagonist. I reckon she'd be brilliant in that. Something like that would be good.
Definitely, I think she definitely has a lot of scope. I think the next big test will be to see her, as you say, in this next film and see how she comes across and see what the appeal is there. Sounds like you've got a crush, Sam.
Oh yeah, head over heels.
I think we've all got a crush on her, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I don't know how you couldn't. So what about you then? Is there any actresses you're particularly fond of?
Yeah, I think an actress that stands out for me is Helena Bonham Carter. I think again it's back to that versatility in terms of the types of different roles that she plays, from the King's Speech, who is obviously Princess Margaret as well in the Netflix show of The Crown, through to the role that she played in Harry Potter as Bellatrix Lestrange. I mean, sort of crazy character, children's sort of film, through to royal family. Is quite a big it's a big gap. Obviously she's been in the Tim Burton stuff, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so quite unusual roles. I guess like Jack Nicholson, she's quite animated as well. Her face, her facial expressions. Of course, she's a British actress as well. So she's done both the low budget independent art films as well as the large scale blockbusters. So it's nice that again she sort of picks and chooses films, I guess, that she's passionate about and interested in.
Yeah, she's a very vibrant actress, isn't she? Like character actress, because every role she does play is quite different. I mean, the Tim Burton movies are all quite gothic, and she plays a similar character, but like with The Crown, it shows that she's kind of branching out. And I think she obviously, like you said, she's done a lot of films before that as well. I think the stereotype is she's the Tim Burton gothic character. But then when you see her in something else, you're like, oh, that's Helena Bonham Carter. You don't recognize it, and that's good because it shows that she's playing it in a very convincing way.
Yeah, and yeah, as you say, you don't always notice. I mean, she was in Fight Club back in the 90s, end of the 90s, you know. So it's just she's been in
That
some of those classic films as well that
that's the one I was thinking. I was like, what film's she in? Like one of my
yeah,
favorite films is in that. She's absolutely amazing in that. Like
yeah,
that's probably my favorite role. Like the chemistry with Brad Pitt and Edward Norton's awesome. Darla, that's it.
Darla, that's it.
Mm.
Anyone that you can think of? Anyone else?
Another actress that's in The Crown. I've not actually watched The Crown, but I know she's
Have you
amazing.
not? Oh, you need to watch it. It's really good.
Yeah, I've not. I
If
like.
you don't like the royal family or you're a royalist, you don't have to be a royalist to watch it. It's just a really good character story in essence. Obviously it's about, you know, the royal family and how they came to be, but it is that all the actresses and actors in there are brilliant. I think I'm going to go with, you're going to say Claire Foy?
Nope.
Oh, you're not?
No, I'm going to go with Olivia Colman.
Oh, okay.
I think she's playing the Queen at the moment, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is like without a doubt one of the most sweetest people I've ever seen. She won the Oscar years ago for playing Queen in The Favourite, and she was amazing in that. I like her because she just seems very down to earth. You know, she went from doing British comedy shows like Peep Show and a lot of the Mitchell and Webb sketch shows and stuff, and she's gone from doing that to Broadchurch to little bits in Doctor Who, and then she's just gone to be in all these films, and she's in Hot Fuzz as well. She's like on top of the world now, and I just like it's kind of like an underdog thing. You know, she's gone from doing these sitcoms and these British sitcoms to being an award-winning actress, and really now like I generally think she's one of the best actors in the world. I think people love her. I've never met anyone who doesn't like her or doesn't like what she does. You know, I think she's very commanding, and I'm glad she's gone from being this underdog person, to now being an Oscar-winning actress. It's brilliant, really. Yeah.
And The Crown as well. I mean, it was so well received with Claire Foy's role. I mean, who did an amazing job. And if you watch her now, Olivia Colman as the Queen now, equally she does an amazing job too. It's just obviously the Queen is it's going at a later stage in her life, and yeah, she'll have put her own little spin on it and made it her own. And yeah, I think she does a brilliant job.
She's good at playing queens. If you haven't seen The Favourite, I recommend it. I think you'd like it. And any other actresses that take your fancy?
I think Sandra Bullock has to be definitely in my top list. I mean, I think the interesting thing about her is she's always sort of played, she's cast as the leading actress, the sort of sexy actress, but then a lot of her films are, thrillers, they're action films, and she doesn't play the sort of stereotypical in the kind of rom-coms. Her character isn't the sort of stereotypical leading female, which I think is quite nice and refreshing. So again, she's pretty versatile. I think she tends to sort of sit more in the rom-com side of things, all the thrillers and the action films, sort of light action, I guess, in that sense. So
I've not actually seen Sandra Bullock in a lot. I've
know,
seen her in Bird Box, which we've talked about before. And to be fair, while it's not the best movie, I think she does, I think her
yeah, well, I
performance
can say about that.
she's still she still does a good performance in that. I think she works well what she's given, because she's still, there's a lot of moments where I'm like, well, I'm following this character and I do quite like her, and a lot of that wouldn't be because a lot of that is because of the way she's performing it, because even if you don't like the film, you can still like a character, and she's very good at that. So, and then is it Rush with Keanu Reeves? Is it Rush? Come on, it's called now. Speed, that's the one. Close enough.
Rush was the film with was that the car one? I think Rush was the car one.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean Speed back in 1994. I think that was one of her first sort of roles, action thriller type thing. And yeah, she's been in other rom-coms, While You Were Sleeping, thrillers like The Net, A Time to Kill, Ocean's 8, The Proposal, 2 Weeks Notice, Miss Congeniality. So quite a lot of rom-coms and stuff, I guess, that I wouldn't normally watch, because rom-coms are sort of definitely lower down my list. But I think that's why I like her as an actress, because the roles that she plays aren't they're not the sort of stereotypical leading actress roles that you would find generally in a rom-com.
Yeah, she was very well revered in Gravity as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, Gravity was a big one. I mean, again, you know, to be able to kind of command the screen, because I mean, you've got George Clooney, haven't you, in the opening part of that? Is it George Clooney?
Yeah, it's George Clooney.
Okay, so you've got George Clooney obviously in the opening part of that movie, but then predominantly it's her in space. So, you know, again, I think she did a pretty good job to be able to kind of command that sort of screen presence and see it through.
It is essentially just her on her own, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, think about that. It's like, I've got
locked
this
in a
film.
box.
Yeah, this film is basically mine. You know, I've got so much room and things to play with the director and such. And I like it when they do things like that. You know, when there's a limited number of actors, means they can just go wild and do lots of different things. And say she's on her own, you know, on this massive set with this really acclaimed director, is it Alfonso Cuarón? Like
Yeah.
that must be like an honor in a way. Like, oh wow, this is where I really get to flex.
Yeah, it must have been a big, I guess, movie moment for her and a big highlight, I guess, of her career. Because you're right, to have all of that, you know, all of those people and that. And of course, she was a Golden Globe winner for the Best Actress in the Drama, The Blind Side.
Oh wow, interesting. Well, she's got that star power, hasn't she? So like, I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up in like a Marvel or Star Wars film, a big budget film like that. You know, 'cause she would sell. You know, I've realised that Marvel and they like to put in loads of big actors. So they're going to put Christian Bale in a new film soon as well. It's like they're now they've had so many actors in their films. They're looking for big actors, you know, who've got really established names. I wouldn't be surprised if she pops up in one. Yeah, I think, as I say, I think she's going into a bit more blockbustery stuff now, isn't she? But which isn't a bad thing, you know, like Bird Box and stuff. But
yeah, I mean, Bird Box, as we talked about in one of our previous vlogs. I mean, that I think again she did a good job of that film, but the film itself, I think, let her down in that sense. And you know, she's 55 now, so she looks fabulous still, obviously. But you know, she was a 55-year-old portraying, you know, a woman of a sort of childbearing age. You know, probably in a early 30s. So I think we're maybe stretching that a little bit.
as if she's 55.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe like 30, 40 or something, but it's weird. Like people like Jared Leto and Johnny Depp who are about 50, and it's like, how?
She doesn't look 55. I mean, she looks incredible, but she definitely looks on the too older side to be having a young baby and then bringing them up and taking them whitewater rafting.
Are there any like quick fire actors, actresses you can throw out?
Morgan Freeman, he's always a classic. You know, if you want that distinctive, authoritative voice of calm, it's Morgan Freeman.
Got a little bit of Morgan Freeman. Ryan Gosling, I think he's an exceptional actor. Jake Gyllenhaal, Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse Ronan's a really good actress. Florence Pugh, Ana de Armas.
I really like Sarah Paulson, so she's sort of better known for, I guess, some of her bigger roles recently have been on American Horror Story, again, Netflix. Her and Jessica Lange, the two of those, I mean, Jessica Lange is fantastic. So, of course, there's someone out there for everyone, but let us know what you think. Who's your favourite actor? Who's your favourite actress? What have they been in? What have you enjoyed? What haven't you enjoyed? Do let us know. We'd be interested to hear your thoughts.